In the last video we saw all about variables and things. So in this video we will be seeing how to take input from the user and how to display things on the screen, right? So see, whenever you want to take input from the user, we use something known as functions, right? So I will just open a new file over here and I will just save the file right now. See, you can do this in your IDLE also, and you can do this in your Hydroid also. I will be explaining in both shortly. See, first of all, I have saved it. So whenever you want to take an input from the user, imagine for example that you are creating some sort of a login screen, right? So if you are creating a login screen, you are going to require two things from the user, the username and the password. So you need a username and you need a password. So how are you going to get the username? Whenever you want to input something from the user, you first have to tell the user what he has to input, right? If the user doesn't know what he wants to input, he will never be able to input anything. So in Python, they have created a function known as input. I'll be talking about functions in the next lecture. Right now, just try to understand that there is something known as function. What is a function? A function is something which is used to perform some sort of task. For example, what does the input function do? The input function is used to take input from the user. So how do we use the input function? Whenever we want to use the input function, first we have to write the variable name, then we have to write equal to, then we write input, then we open a circle bracket, and inside the circle bracket we write something which has to be displayed on the screen. For example, we can write enter the username, right? Otherwise, how will the user know what he has to enter, right? Similarly, for password, what we will do, we will write input, enter the password, right? So this is what we have done. Now see, I will just save this code and I will run this code now. So see, it is telling me enter the username, and see the cursor is stopping over here. The cursor is waiting for me to enter the username. Let us say my username is Ajay123. So this is my username. I press enter. As soon as I pressed enter, see it went to the next line. And now it is asking for my password. So let my password be password itself. Right, so this is not a good password, but just for explanation purposes. And if I press enter, see, then the code is over. It executed the code line by line. In the first line that it executed, it asked the username this, it showed the username this message, he entered the username. Then whatever value we got, it was stored inside this variable username. Similarly, after we put in the username and pressed enter, it again asked for the password. We put in the password value and stored it inside this variable password. Now if we want to print this on the screen, see, I will just to explain to you that the value has been stored inside the username and the password. I'll just write over here print username is equal to, see, whatever I write inside quotation marks is printed as it is. Okay, it is printed as it is. Whatever is inside quotation mark, it is printed just like what it is. Okay, for example, if I put N capital over here, and it will be printed as N capital. If I want to add two things one after the other in print statement, I use the plus command and I write over here username. Okay, now what is the difference between this and this? See, this is a fixed string. This is a fixed message. This will always be the same. This is the variable. If I put a different username, it will show a different username. But this output will be same for each and every time. This is constant output. Okay. Similarly, print password, plus password. Right. So now see, if I run this code now, see what it is doing. It is first asking me for the username, which is the first line of the code. If I write the usernames again, I will write Ajay123. Then it is going to the second line. Now it is asking me for the password. So I can put in the password as password. Now if I press enter, it will go rapidly to the line number 3 and 4. and it will print the username and password. See, it printed the username and password, right? So this is how thing works. This is how we can take input from the user and display it on the screen, right? So hopefully this part is clear to you, how to take input. To take input, we use the input function, and to print something on the screen, we use the print function. In print function, if we, for example, let us say you don't want to show the username and password on different lines, you want to show it on the same line, you can use this plus feature. Okay, this plus feature, when used between two strings, it does the function of concatenation. What does concatenation mean? Concatenation means adding one string in front of the other. मतलब एक वर्ड है उसके सामने दूसरा वर्ड एक के आगे एक ऐड करते जाना, right? So that is how you can add words in front of each other. So over here I can again write plus. Then how will I write? In quotation mark, I will just put a comma to separate it, and I will write password is equal to, and I will write plus, and I will write password. Okay, so now it will be printed in a single line. These plus plus is doing what? This plus plus is doing concatenation, adding one string after the other, right? So now if I run this, let me put username something as Anil435 and password as wordpass. See, it is showing it in a single line. So this is how you can use the input function to take input from the user, and then use the print function to display it on the screen.